Welcome back to Dad Narok Reacts. This is a reaction to the teaser slash title drop for The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, set to premiere this year on Amazon Prime Video. Well, that's a mouthful. This is Sean.
And this is Chris. Wow. Yeah, guys, if you don't know any better and you don't know who we are, we do these reacts. We do after shows. We're doing Book of Boba Fett right now. If you like what you see here, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. But let's get into this, dude, because I was pumped. I was just kind of scrolling through TikTok earlier this morning.
Yeah.
And I seen this pop up. I'm like, first of all, I'm thinking, yeah, crap. I'm not going to find out any news of any shows or anything on TikTok. Come on. That's
right.
And then I went ahead and I YouTubed and it's like, I'll be damned. I got pumped and I watched it once and I watched it twice and I sent it to you. I was like, I watched it 3 times. Getting
TikTok,
chills the whole time while watching.
Source of information, TikTok.
That is very sad. I'm sad that I admitted that.
Let's just jump into it and talk about it afterwards.
There we go.
Right?
3 rings for the elven kings under the sky. 7 for the dwarf lords in their halls of stone. 9 for mortal men doomed to die. 1 for the Dark Lord on his dark throne in the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie.
Dude.
Well, there you go.
I still get chills. I mean, like I said, I've watched this thing so many times, and just hearing, the rings and who gets the rings and, basically one ring to rule them all. It's fantastic.
Yeah, so they didn't show like a lot. And this is just basically this is an announcement what the show is going to be called.
Yeah, it's exactly what it's more of an announcement. It's more for people like me to go ahead and be like, just start doing backflips and being thrilled that we finally have something tangible connected to this Lord of the Rings show, because we've heard about it. We heard the cost of it. I mean, Amazon pretty much paid 10 times more than any other show that's ever been, in existence.
$1 billion show. Between them buying the rights for it and the actual production, it's $1 billion show.
That is crazy. But you think about it, they put the money into it. So it better be that type of value, that type of show, that visually stunning. Especially
what we expect of the Lord of the Rings, because Peter Jackson's trilogy from the 2000s is, I mean, it's you can't beat it, besides maybe Star Wars, but Star Wars plays a very close place in my heart. But as far as trilogies go, that original Lord of the Rings trilogy, man, Fellowship, Two Towers, Return of the King,
when it comes to
so big.
When it comes to a trilogy of 3 movies, that's A for me.
Yeah,
the original Star Wars trilogy is B. Now they're close.
No kidding.
Yeah, I mean, I will go to Fellowship of the Rings is probably one of my favorite movies.
Right
now, by the time we get to Return of the King, I can care less what happens to Frodo anymore. I'm more on everyone else's storyline.
Yeah. I absolutely, love the trilogy. I actually revisited it here recently. I haven't seen him in over a decade, maybe. And then Vudu had this awesome sale where I was able to get the extended versions, 4K, for $15. And I was like, whoop, I snatched that. I watched all of them straight over the holidays, and I also watched the Hobbit trilogy too after that.
That's something. Eliza here was mentioning how they pronounce Mordor.
Yeah.
And I mean, even her whole tone of going through everything. But
she rolled those R's for sure.
Man. But dude, let's get back to your marathon. I don't know if I could find the time to do it as much as I really want to. It's gonna be one of those, I'd have to watch half a movie one time and turn around and watch the other half another time.
I had to do it over that break, that weird limbo in between Christmas and New Year's. That's where I found the time. But I just couldn't stop. It's like once I started it, I just kept, and I wanted to keep going because the movies are that darn good.
Now, we don't know anything yet, but do you think Weta Workshop, who was behind a lot of the practical magic and everything for the original Lord of the Rings series, do you think they're going to be connected to this in a way? Because if they're going to be in New Zealand, if my memory is right, that's where Weta is located.
Yeah, at least where they started out originally. Yeah. So I don't know how tied this production is going to be to the original trilogies. I honestly don't. I think maybe we might get some Easter eggs. I don't think it's directly tied in any way, but I don't know. They're not going to do wrong if they do. I mean, Weta has done. Weta is up there with ILM these days, and ILM used to be, the champ for many decades as far as visual effects. But now Weta is, right up there too. I just, I can't wait. We know very little about this production. We still know very little.
They're keeping it such tight-lipped, and I love that because I want the shock and awe factor. I want the Baby Yoda factor.
Right.
I want to be watching it, sitting in my living room. I mean, I'm just talking about. I just got chills, honestly.
Yeah,
I want that take place again.
Yeah, and you and I were talking a little bit before we hopped on here how like we know the familiar story of the Hobbit / the Lord of the Rings, that time span on Middle Earth between Bilbo's adventures and then later Frodo's adventures and everything surrounding that. But I mean the Silmarillion that was written later is just like fleshes out this whole huge expansive timeline of what came even before all that stuff, as far as where the wizards came from and Sauron, where the heck he came from, his original story. So to dip our toes into that, to have the feeling of the Lord of the Rings, Middle Earth, Galadriel, who I think we heard a new actress as Galadriel's giving us the little backstory of the rings being forged here in this trailer. To be able to watch that and not necessarily disconnect it, you could probably watch the show and pretend it's a direct prequel, honestly, to the Lord of the Rings and the series that we know and love with Viggo Mortensen and Elijah Wood and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
well, I hope it's. I mean, I know they shot it in the same place of another series they did on Amazon Prime, the Wheel of Time.
Yeah,
and they did that visually. It was beautiful.
Right.
So I'm hoping that it mirrors that. I mean, well, I'm hoping. Mirror Time.
It's better.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, visually, I don't know if you can get much better visually, but when it comes to effects and everything, like we were talking about Weta, I would love to see some of the things. I don't need to see anything that's directly connected to the 6 movies that we know already.
Right.
But if they go ahead and do something that is, that looks familiar. I like things that look familiar, that I know that I'm back in that world.
Right.
That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking from the map. If they open up with a map and you see them going over the map where Mordor is and where the Shire is and all those places that we're familiar with, that's what I want to see.
Yeah, and I can't wait to lock down exactly what sort of, because the timeline is so expansive before the time of the Hobbit that I'm still a little confused as far as like what specific timeline, if they're gonna like go full from like the creation of Middle Earth onto all the way like leading up to the events of the Hobbit, or if it's more of a kind of like in the life of like maybe 100-year span of some story that leads up to Isildur, or like I'm still a little fuzzy as far as what the timeline looks like of this thing. With the title called The Rings of Power, I assume that we're going to see these things forged.
Yeah, and Eliza here is agreeing with a nice little nod to the original trilogy with Gadriel, doing the narrating.
Yeah, that's exactly how the original trilogy opened up, with Kate Blanchett giving us that speech.
Yeah, so I mean, those little nods, those little like familiar nuggets.
Yeah,
that's what I want. Like we were saying, I just want to be able to feel like I'm back in Middle Earth.
Me too. Yeah. You had told me they actually released a separate video, kind of showing the making of this. This whole thing, I assumed that this was like really good CG, but
no, dude. And this is what really has me excited. For this show. Let's go ahead and watch what I'm excited about, and we'll talk about it afterwards.
Yeah, I haven't seen this yet, so let's check it out.
Dude, that's what has me excited.
Practical effects.
It was all practical effects. That whole thing, there was nothing CG about it. From the water running over, the melted the metal.
Yeah.
To where the steam came back when you seen the camera fly over it to get that effect that they're looking for.
They were casting and forging the logo and the title of the show, which is like, how cool is that?
Yeah, exactly. Like I was pumped when I seen the original teaser or the title and everything, and they gave us everything we've seen in the original one. But when they went ahead and put this out as well, I think that's almost a nod to their fans saying, okay, we may have went a little heavy on the the CG in The Hobbit.
Right.
Give us a little bit of leeway. We're going to bring it back in.
Yeah, dude, I cannot wait. It looks terrific. From the little bit that we've seen, looks terrific, and we haven't seen much.
We've seen nothing.
We've seen nothing at all, but the nothing we've seen is amazing.
Yeah, exactly. We're so excited. I mean, they're putting the time into it.
Yeah,
and if you're going to put the time into it, and you're going to give us this type stuff, like they could have just put out that the teaser, and be like, okay, that's that. They're not going to show us. But I really think they put out that behind the scenes just to give us more hype that we're going to see more practical effects in this than we would any type of CG.
Yeah, they're putting some care into it for sure. So I can't wait until we see a full trailer. Maybe we'll get something over the summer. We'll see some actual characters and dialogue.
I think we'll get something during The Boys.
Oh, yeah.
Because The Boys comes out in June 3rd. So with this here, it's going to give The Boys plenty of time to go ahead and run. Right. And then this would start up afterwards.
Yeah. Liza here is wondering the same thing. I wonder when we'll get any more teasers. It's January now. I think they'll let this kind of hype die down. And maybe, like you said, Boys is coming out in June, right?
Yeah, June. I think June 3rd is when it comes out.
Yeah. So attention will be drawn upon Amazon Prime, just like Sauron's eye is drawn upon the streaming service there. And hopefully we'll get to see more. But I think that's going to be about it for right now. Chris and I will definitely be following this story and the Rings of Power. Any news nuggets come out, any new trailers or teasers, we'll definitely be here to react.
Absolutely. And if you're new to us, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. I mean, we do an after show on, the most popular shows and some not so popular, but we try to do something to cover everybody. And this, I mean, I can speak for Sean. This is going to be an after show. We're going to do this. We're going to watch it, and we're going to go back behind it. And same with The Boys, for instance. I mean, Amazon's pumping them out.
Yeah.
Some really, really good shows. So if you like Lord of the Rings, please hit that subscribe button. We're going to be doing this.
But yeah, check us out on YouTube and be sure to like and subscribe to our page. Be sure to check us out. Currently, we're doing the Book of Boba Fett After Show every Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook, actually. And I think that's going to do it for this episode of Dad and Rock Reacts.
Okay, until we see you guys next time, go ahead and keep it cheesy.
See ya.